I'd rather not catch fish with my family than catch 20 fish alone. How you feel about that line of dialogue will probably be a fair measure for how you feel about the movie Geostorm. Me? I love it.
Come on, baby.
Starring, amongst others, Gerard Butler, Jim Sturgis, Abby Cornish, Ed Harris and Andy Garcia. Directed by Dean Devlin, off of a script that he co-wrote with Paul with Paul something or other. This is my review for Geostorm. First up, apologies for the lack of reviews for the last week or so. I've been busy. I've got business to start up, so I've been off doing things with that. I've been writing more books as well, and shameless self-plug time. If you want to read my last book, you can find it in my Twitter bio. Self-promotion. So yeah, I've been busy. I wanted to review The Ritual and The Snowman. I didn't review either. I've seen them now. The Ritual, pretty good. The Snowman, awful. Worst film of the year contender, The Snowman. Why release a movie that the director knows isn't finished? Baffles me. But now I'm back with Geostorm. Let's talk about Geostorm. Alright, not a good movie. It's not. The script is awful. It's not particularly well directed. You have to believe that Gerard Butler can be the smartest man on the planet, which I struggle with. The effects they're fine. They're not groundbreaking. Yeah, it's not a good movie. It's not a good movie for lots of reasons. It's so full of cliches that it could be called Cliche Geostorm. There's so many of them, just visually and in the scripts. It's all over the place. Plot twists are so predictable. You'll know exactly what's going, probably just by looking at the cast list, in all honesty. It's not a stretch to be able to work out exactly what's going on and who's behind it. And this movie rips off so many other films that if they uploaded it straight to YouTube, it would probably be struck by about 90 copyright strikes. But the good news is, quite a lot of those would be Dean Devlin ripping off himself. There's a lot of nods to past movies that he and Roland Emmerich have done together. Yep, there's even a dog in this one. A lovely little touching dog moment. It's the kind of film that this is. So it's a bad movie. It is. Did I like it? Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I'm a sucker for these sort of movies. Any kind of disaster movie I absolutely love. Independence Day, Day After Tomorrow, even 2012, San Andreas from recent memory as well. All of those films are filled with all of those problems that I mentioned before. Not always the villain one, but quite a lot of the problems. Cliched and over the top and ridiculous. But that's what I'm looking for in these movies. That's what I went into Geostorm hoping to get, and I got it. I got it in spades. The plot then for Geostorm is that weather has got out of hand in 2019. Weather started to get pretty bad. We had hurricanes and tornadoes, and it's trying to tell us that, look, this is what's happening to the world. It's trying to do that in a very heavy-handed way. So to combat this, they built something to control the weather. They can control all the weather now via satellites and stuff they don't even bother explaining that well, because let's be honest, they can't. And things go well. Things go well for a while until things stop going so well. And they have to bring back Gerard Butler's character, who is no longer part of the project, but he's the guy that designed the entire thing. Gerard Butler designed something to control the weather. If you can get on board with that, you're fine with Geostorm. So yeah, he has to go back. He has to find out what the problem is, and it's soon revealed that people are tampering with this to create a geostorm, which is a storm that can wipe out most life on Earth. It's so good. It's so good. This is one of those movies that's gloriously awful. Like it's horrible, but I love it. I really do. I'm a little ashamed. What can I say? So let's look at some of the cliches. Gerard Butler's brother is Jim Sturgis' character, and they don't get on. Oof, if only there was something that could bring them together by the time the movie closed. If only. He has a daughter who provides the opening and the closing narration to the movie. And they have issues, father and daughter issues. She's not in it that much at all, so it's real bare bones. Like, you barely see her at all. Despite the fact that she's opening the movie and closing it, you see very little of the daughter character or any kind of development in that relationship. But it's there. It's there for the hell of it. Why not? Jim Sturgis' character is in love with Abby Cornish's character, and they're together, but they can't tell anybody about it. And it just, you know how all this is going to end before you go in. You do. Like, it follows every single predictable beat, but again, I'm cool with it. That's what I wanted. Sometimes just going and watching a movie that's just dumb fun is absolutely fine. And Geostorm is dumb fun. It's the epitome of dumb fun. That being said, this doesn't fall as much into the disaster porn category as I was hoping it would. There are some action scenes that are just so stupid. So stupid yet amazing. But they're few and far between. And I was just hoping for absolute carnage. Just constant carnage. Just things blowing up and just people freezing to death constantly or just burning. You know, that kind of disaster stuff I was hoping to see in this. And you get it, you just don't get it as much as... At least I was hoping that you would. It spends a lot more time on the conspiracy aspect and who's doing this and who's hacking the satellites. And that stuff's fine too. It's just as fun. It's just not quite as visually epic as I was hoping. The cast, for the most part, commit. Gerard Butler, as I say, even though it's Gerard Butler and you have to imagine he can do these things, like he commits to the role. He's good. I like Gerard Butler in this a hell of a lot more than I liked him in something like London Has Fallen. Jim Sturgis, arguably the best person in this. He actually gives a really good performance, especially towards the end. There's a moment that I won't talk about, but yeah, he does really well. And Abby Cornish as well, she's fine. She's fine. Ed Harris is Ed Harris. And yeah, nobody really puts a foot wrong. There's just a lot of coasting through it. But again, it's a movie called Geostorm, so I don't think they were going to bring their best Oscar-winning performances to the movie. As for the way the movie wraps up, and I won't spoil it here as to who is behind the Geostorm. And by the way, with the Geostorm, this is the kind of movie you actually get a ticking clock on the screen that says how long it is until the Geostorm happens, complete with a voice that says, Geostorm in 59 minutes. And it continues to cut back to this. So it's just great. It's just great. I love how bad this is. It's brilliantly bad. But to clarify, when I say bad, I don't mean it's awful. We're not talking Flatliners this year, Flatliners level of bad. Like it's an enjoyable movie. Nothing makes sense, particularly when it comes to the villain. And again, I'm not going to say who the villain is, but when it comes to the villain's purpose, like why they're trying to create this Geostorm, it doesn't make any sense at all. It's a leap to assume that somebody would do this just to get this one particular goal that they want. It's ludicrous. It's ridiculous. It makes absolutely no sense. But again, I just keep coming back to the fact that it's a movie called Geostorm, so what was I expecting? Those movies at the start, sort of Day After Tomorrow, 2012, if you enjoy those sort of movies, you're likely to enjoy this. I compare it actually to a movie called Into the Storm. It had Sarah Wayne Callies in it. It's out a few years ago. I don't remember it doing overly well, but it's that sort of terrible movie. It's terrible, but you can't help but love it if you're into these kind of films, which I am. With regards to the score, it should be a 5 or a 6 at most, I think, for Geostorm, but I'm going to give it an extra point or two just because of how much I enjoyed it. So I'm going to give Geostorm a 7 out of 10. Also coming this week, another noteworthy Power Rangers. Episode 4 just got uploaded, finally. There were some issues with it that were entirely my fault. So episode 5 is coming this week. There's also going to be reviews for Happy Death Day, Jigsaw, and Thor Ragnarok, which I'm really excited for. Please be good. But yeah, thank you for watching this. As I say, apologies for missing a couple of reviews. I'll try and get back to this at least semi-regularly. Hit like, hit subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter @JoePJulians, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.